Today I'll be pruning our grapes. You can see it's not really set up on any train kind of a system. This is how it was when we got here, but it's a good example of how to prune grapes, just the basics, what to look for, what to think about when you're doing it. Here's an example. You can see this is where I cut it 2 years ago, and this is where it grew out from there. This is where I cut it last year, leaving 2 buds. You can see where it grew out from there. And what grows out from the buds, from a year-old buds, that's where you're going to get your grapes from. So like I said, when you're pruning it, you leave 1 or 2 buds back on the new growth. Again, this would have been 1 year's growth cut here, leaving 2 buds. What that does is it limits the number of grapes because only these new buds are going to have growth. So since the grapes come from the number of buds that you leave on here, the number of buds left on the overall vine will tell you how many grapes you're going to get. But the key when you're pruning it is to try and just pay attention to what your grapevine is doing. If you're wanting to get a lot of grapes, of course you would leave a lot of buds, but there's only so many grapes that it can support. So the trick is to try and get as many grapes growing as you can support and still have good quality grapes at the end of the day. So in this case, I wanted to leave 2 buds, 1, 2, on this 1-year-old growth. So I'm going to cut it right out here. Pull that away. And again, on this, which is also 1-year growth, I want to leave 2 buds. It's just the way I feel like doing it. So 1, 2 buds, and then I'll clip it right down here. You just keep doing that over and over again, trying to get the number of buds that you're looking for on each vine in particular and on the overall plant. Another thing to be watching for as you're pruning is dead growth. And you can see here, I've pruned this the past couple of years and no new growth came out of it, so I'm going to cut that whole thing off right down here. And what that'll do is, down here where there is new growth, it'll help that along. That's all there is to it. This year I'm going to try propagating my grapes. So I've selected one of the more vigorous of the vines that I cut off. It's again 1-year growth. So one of the key things here is that the same buds that will grow grapes and leaves are also where the roots will sprout out. So what I'm going to try and do is get 3 buds, 1, 2, 3, under the ground, and then 2 buds above ground. So I'll cut this and dig a hole, bury the 3 buds under the ground, leave 2 above, and we'll see what happens. Here's the vine I planted. Again, you can see 1 bud, 2 buds above ground, the rest are below ground. I put it in the dirt and moved some of the wet leaves in around it as a mulch to help it so it won't have competition. We'll see how it goes. Another way of propagating grapes, and I'm not sure that you'll be able to see this or not, but if you lay them on the ground or bury them a little bit, they will actually put roots out even though they're attached to the main plant. So you can see this one where there was a bud. Now has a root that goes down in the ground. It was established for a year at least, and so now I've cut it off. Both ends are cut off from the main plant, and it should be able to support itself. So again, we'll see how it goes this year.